Everybody has a short story that traumatized them, and today I'm going to be talking about The Jaunt by Stephen King, published in 1981. This story takes place in the future, and it follows a man named Mark and his family as they're about to travel to Mars. They're able to do this via teleportation, and this process is called the jaunt or jaunting, but they have to be put under in order to do it, and so he decides to distract his kids by telling them a story about how it was discovered. In this story, jaunting was discovered in 1987 by a scientist named Victor after he accidentally teleported 2 of his fingers. At this time, resources are extremely limited, so his discovery is very important. As he tells the story, both kids are getting really into it, but especially his son Ricky. Mark continues the story, and he talks about how eventually the scientist Victor begins to test this on living creatures, and he starts with mice. Victor realizes that upon being teleported, the mice would either die instantly or act crazy and then die. As he's telling this story, the jaunting attendants are giving people anesthesia and getting closer and closer to the family. Both the kids are very much invested. His daughter mainly wants to know what happened to the mice, but his son wants to know what happened the first time they tried to jaunt people. The first people to be jaunted were convicted felons who volunteered to take part in this experiment in exchange for a full pardon. Of the 7 convicts who participated, 6 of them went under anesthesia and came back fine, but the 7th one was awake for the process. When he comes through, he lives for just a second and says, "It's eternity in there," and then dies. Finally, it's the family's turn to be put under. The dad goes first to show the kids that nothing is wrong, and then when he wakes up, he hears his wife screaming. He realizes that his son Ricky held his breath and didn't take the anesthesia. Now, we don't know what Ricky saw, but the story describes him as a creature older than time masquerading as a boy. He keeps saying over and over, "Longer than you think, Dad, longer than you think," and begins gouging his own eyes out. And the story ends with Mark screaming. Now, I'm not saying the story is a fanfic of The Star's My Destination by Alfred Bester, but that is where the term jaunt comes from. To me, the scariest stories are the ones where you don't see the scary thing, and I think this one does it really well because you don't know what Ricky saw, but his response afterwards will give you the chills. I don't know what kind of eldritch Lovecraftian horrors Ricky saw, but I don't really need to know in order to enjoy the story. Also, I don't know if this is a novella, technically, but it's pretty long. It took me a while to read this one.